This is Miss Humbert here, and today we're going to be doing Unit 10, Notes 3, so we're going to be talking about rotations. So if you take a look at rotations, here's what a rotation is, and I suggest you kind of get this jotted down. A rotation or a turn is a transformation around a fixed point, known as the center of rotation, through a specific angle or direction. So we took this E, and we rotated it down. So the center of rotation right there, that's the point that we are rotating around. Same thing here, we took this square and we rotated around this way, rotating around that point right here. So here's how you calculate out rotation. So we're going to go based on specific degree measures. So for a 90-degree rotation, when you are rotating 90 degrees, you multiply the y coordinate by -1 and then you switch the x and the y coordinates. So for starters, let's graph the point 5, 2. So we are going over 5 up 2 and plotting that point. So here we have the point 5, 2. Now we want to rotate at 90 degrees. So to rotate at 90 degrees, we're going to make the x coordinate negative, and then we're going to flip-flop them. So that's going to become -2, 5. So then we're going left 2 and up 5. So if this is point P, this is P prime, or the image at the point -2, 5. Now that dot has been rotated 90 degrees. To rotate 180 counterclockwise, you multiply both the x and the y coordinates by a -1. So let's graph that same point up 5 over 2. So that's going to be our P. So to get P prime, we're going to multiply both the x and the y by a negative. So, oops, that's not P prime, that's P, silly Miss Humbert. So then we want to go left 5 down 2. And when you go left 5 down 2, that gives you P prime, or your image. So that has been rotated 180 degrees. And you can tell because if you connect the 2 points, they form a line. Okay, and they're 180 degrees rotated around because they're on that line X, Y. Okay, so let's take a look at a 270-degree rotation. So to rotate 270, you multiply the x coordinate by -1 and then exchange the x and the y coordinates. So we're going up 5 over 2 again. There's our P. And now we want to find the image. So we're going to multiply the x coordinate by a -1, and then we're going to flip. So we get 2, -5. So we're going over 2 and then down 5. And this is going to be our P prime image. So that's a rotation of 270 degrees. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's take a look at number 1. So number 1, it says triangle PQR has vertices 1, 1, 4, 5, and 5, 1. Graph the triangle PQR and its image after rotation of 90 degrees. Well, first let's draw the triangle PQR. So we're going over 1 and up 1, and that's going to be P. For Q, we're going over 1, 2, 3, 4, and up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that's going to be Q. Then for R, we're going over 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and up 1, and that's going to be R. So this right here is our triangle. Now we want to rotate it. So to rotate it, we want to 90 degrees. We're going to multiply the y coordinate by -1 and then flip the coordinates. So P, to get P prime, I'm going to take, and that's going to become 1, -1 when I multiply the y coordinate, and then I need to flip them, so it's going to be -1, 1. For Q, I need to make the second one negative, or multiply it by -1, excuse me, and then I need to flip-flop them. So that's going to become -5, 4. For R, again, multiply the y coordinate by a -1, and then flip them, so that'll become -1, 5. So now we need to graph all of those points. So we're going left 1, up 1, and that's going to be my P. Then for my Q, I'm going left 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and up 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's my Q. And lastly, I need to get my R. And I'm going left 1 and then up 5, which is here. So this is my R. So this right here is my triangle. Okay, take a look at number 2. JKL is shown below. What is the image of point J after 200-degree rotation clockwise about the origin? Okay, or counterclockwise, sorry. So what we want to do is we want to take and we just want to focus on the point J. So J is at 3, -7, and we want to do 270. So to do 270, what we need to do is multiply the x-coordinate by a -1, so we end up getting -3, -7, and then we need to flip the two coordinates, so we get -7, -3. So the position of the image of J is simply -7, -3, and that's all we need to write for number 2. Next, let's take a look at number 3. So taking a look at number 3, it says that hexagon DGJTSR is shown below. What is the image of the point T after a 90 degrees clockwise rotation? So first we need to figure out which one is T. So T, it looks like, is this point right here, and that's over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and up 3. So it's over 5 and up 3 is the point. So now, to do it 90 degrees, first thing we have to do is multiply the y-coordinate by a -1, and then we have to switch it. So then we get -3, 5. So that means that C is our answer, okay? So we're trying to get some of that multiplication in there, or that multiple choice answer practice. Good gracious, if I could speak today, I would be having a great day. So let's take a look at number 4. So following the diagram, which description best identifies the rotation? So we're trying to figure out this rotation. So here's point A, and here's point A prime. That Q right there is going to be our center of rotation. So if I look, I go down to Q and I go over, it really looks to me like that is forming a right angle. So since it's forming a right angle, it's 90 degrees. So I'm going to eliminate 20 degrees. And now I need to figure out if it's clockwise or counterclockwise. So I'm using multiple choice to my advantage here. So I'm going from here to here. So think about the way a clock works. Okay, a clock is going to go around this way. So that means that's clockwise. If it's going around the same way as the face of a clock would, that's clockwise. If it's going the other way, that would be counterclockwise. So since we're going the same direction of a clock, it's 90 degrees clockwise. Next, let's take a look at number 5. So for number 5, it says that the triangle PQR is shown below. What is the image of the point Q after a 90 degrees counterclockwise rotation? So for the most part, when we're actually calculating things, we're using counterclockwise, not clockwise. So we want to take a look at the point Q. So here's the point Q right here, and point Q is at 4, 5. It's kind of hard to see on there, so I'm going to write that down. So Q is at the point 4, 5. So now, to go clockwise 90 degrees, what we need to do is multiply the y-coordinate by a -1, and then we're going to flip-flop the two coordinates. So then we end up getting -5, +4. So B is that 90-degree rotation. So that concludes your note video for today. Go ahead and show me your completed note sheet when you are done. Thanks for listening.